Hello, today we will be talking about the 2011 science fiction action film called In Time. This video will contain spoilers, so beware. The movie starts with the protagonist Will Salas, who explains that in the modern world in 2169, humans have been genetically engineered to stop aging at age 25, after which a timer on their wrist will start counting down. Time is now literally money, and people will die when their timer hits zero unless they can get more time. That also means that people can theoretically live forever if they don't run out of time. People also live in different time zones based on how much time they have. The richest region is called New Greenwich and the poorest is Dayton, where Will is in currently. Will wakes up staring at his clock showing that he only has 24 hours left to live. He goes over to the kitchen and says hi to his mom, who has been 25 for 25 years. Weird to call someone who looks your age mom, but okay. He tells his mom happy birthday. She tells Will it's time to start a family and give her grandchildren, to which he says there is no time to have a family. Will's mom transfers some time to Will through her wrist to give him some lunch money. On his way to work, a little girl hustles Will for 5 minutes, showing just how desperate people are for time. Will shows up to his factory job and orders coffee, complaining that they raised the price from 3 to 4 minutes. Right after that, Will and his friend named Borel walk by a dead body that timed out left lying on the street. After a long day at work, Will is underpaid and told that he did not meet the day's quota that just went up that day. After work, Will goes to a bar to meet up with Borel. Borel tells Will that there is a guy in the bar surrounded by hotties who has over a century on his clock. The man is bringing too much attention to himself, so Will goes over to him and warns him to leave for his own safety. While Will talks to the guy, a gang called the Minutemen shows up and all the customers flee. Borel warns Will not to get involved. The leader of the Minutemen introduces himself as Fortis and demands the man to give him all of his time. The man falls sick and Fortis allows the man to use the bathroom to puke. Will ambushes the Minuteman guarding the bathroom and rushes the man out of the bar through the back. Fortis and his men chase down Will, but they manage to find a warehouse to hide in. After they are safe, Will finds out the man's name is Henry Hamilton, a rich man who is over 100 years old. Will asks why he so carelessly came to Dayton, to which Henry admits he wants to die and that humans were not meant to be immortal. Will, who has struggled every day to stay alive, gets pissed. Henry also reveals that there is enough time in the world for everyone to live a long and comfortable life, but because of the greed of the rich who want to be immortal, they have built an economy that is too expensive for the regular person. The rich have made regular people struggle to survive every day to force them to die just so they can be immortal. Henry then asks Will what would he do if he had his time. Will tells him he wouldn't waste it and would make the most of his life. They then go to sleep. While Will is asleep, Henry transfers all but 5 minutes of his time to Will. Will then wakes up and sees that Henry is gone and that he gave Will all of his time. Will sees that Henry is on top of a bridge outside the warehouse. Henry waits until his clock times out and his dead body falls into the river below. Will tries to stop him but is too late. Will then goes to see Borel and tells him what just happened. Because Borel has been such a good friend, Will gives Borel 10 years, 1 year for each year of friendship. Will leaves to go find his mom while Borel goes to the bar to enjoy his time. Will's mom tries to board the bus when she is stopped by the driver saying they increased the bus fare and she doesn't have enough to get on. Hour walk and she only has an hour and a half. She begs people on the street to help, but no one does, so she starts running for her life. Will waits for the bus, and when he sees that his mom wasn't on it, he panics and starts to run in her direction. They run as fast as they can towards each other, but are a second too late and she times out in Will's arms. Later we meet a timekeeper named Raymond who is investigating the death of Henry. He suspects that he was murdered for his time. Afterwards, an angry Will has ordered an Uber to take him directly to New Greenwich. Knowing that his mother and all other struggling people died because of the greed of the rich has motivated him to go over there and flip their pancakes. To go into each time zone, Will has to pay more and more time. The final time stop into New Greenwich cost Will 1 year to go through. Will makes it to New Greenwich and starts moving too fast and is immediately noticed by a pretty female. Will slows down and starts acting richer. He buys a hotel room worth 2 months a night. Later we see the timekeepers investigating Henry's murder by looking through camera footage and identify Will and know that he left Dayton. Will starts enjoying his time as a rich man and goes to eat breakfast at a fancy restaurant and overtips the server. The server tells Will that she knows he is not from there by how fast he is eating. She points him to the casino. The timekeepers track down his location and Raymond realizes he knew Will's father. Will shows up to the casino and heads to the poker table. Will meets Philippe while playing poker while discussing the fairness of being immortal. Philippe justifies it as Darwinian capitalism, which angers Will and makes him gamble his whole clock. With seconds left, Will wins the game and earns over 1,000 years. The pretty lady from before shows up and is with Philippe, but because everyone stops aging at 25, he doesn't know if it's Philippe's mother, wife, or sister. Philippe tells Will that she is his daughter. She introduces herself as Sylvia and invites Will to a party the next day. Will buys a luxury car the next day for 59 years and shows up to the party. Will meets more of Philippe's family. Will starts talking to Sylvia and tells her bodyguard to take a walk. Sylvia asks Will to dance with her and she asks him where he is actually from. He deflects and she complains that being rich is boring. Will take Sylvia outside and they get naked and take a swim in the beach. They almost get caught, so they leave the beach and go back to the party. Philippe asks Will to play another poker game with him when the timekeepers show up. They take him away and interrogate Will. Raymond asks Will how he got that much time. Will tells Raymond that he won 1,000 years after Henry gave Will 100. Raymond can't believe that a rich man would give up his immortality and thinks Will must be a thief. They confiscate almost all of his time. Will questions Raymond why he investigates a suicide of a rich man and ignores poor people dying on the streets. Raymond tells Will that is exactly what his father said 20 years ago. Will suddenly attacks the guards and takes Sylvia hostage. He gets her to his car and they get chased down the highway. Will manages to outrun them with his slick tricks. After they get away, Sylvia refuses to give him time and wants to go back home, which Will refuses. They drive back to Dayton where they get ambushed by Fortis and his men. Fortis robs Sylvia of her time but hear police sirens, so they run away without taking everything. Will and Sylvia wake up to find that they are both broke and need to get time as soon as possible. Will goes to find Borel so he can get some time back, but finds out from his wife that Borel died drinking himself to death. Sylvia freaks out and Will tells her to shut up and focus. They rush to sell Sylvia's jewelry for 2 days. Will calls Philippe and demands to talk to Raymond to send him some time in exchange for Sylvia. Will and Sylvia go back to Will's house and Sylvia starts to see more and more just how poorly the people outside New Greenwich live. Will starts talking about how his father was a fighter and learned how to win the time tug of war. They talk about the day they turned 25 and their timers started to count down. After they are done chatting, they wait to see if Philippe actually sent the 1,000 years. He did not. They go outside and Will tell Sylvia to call her dad so she could go home. Sylvia goes ahead but gives Will a smooch first. As she calls her father, Raymond tries to ambush Will. Sylvia sees Raymond and shoots him. Will spares Raymond and gives him some time so that he could survive and escape in his car. Raymond's partner picks up Raymond and is surprised to see him alive. Will and Sylvia stop a New Greenwich resident and steals her time and car. They talk about what to do next but get distracted and start smooching. Raymond meets with Philippe again and lets him know that Sylvia is also wanted by the timekeepers. Philippe tries to bribe him, but Philippe is strict about the rules and threatens to arrest Philippe if he aids his daughter. After Will and Sylvia are done smooching, they decide to become bank robbers. They drive the truck into a bank and steal all the time capsules and give them all away. Will manages to disrupt the economy and angers Raymond. One of the men that receives time from Will shows up and tries to ambush Fortis, but he claps him first. Later Will tries to clap Sylvia when Raymond interrupts them with a chase sequence. They escape by jumping out of a window, but Raymond is persistent. They manage to escape by bribing the bus driver. Too bad, Raymond. Will and Sylvia get a new hotel room so they can proceed to clap, but a man sees them go in. Fortis is still pissed about getting ambushed and blames Will for giving away time. He kills a man for information, and the man who saw Will and Sylvia in the hotel tells Fortis where they are. Will and Sylvia are about to clap again when Fortis and his men break in. Instead of killing Will, Fortis gives him a chance by playing tug of war. Will pretends to lose just like his father and then steals all of Fortis's time and kills his men. Raymond is investigating the murders when his partner argues that all he did was give away time, including to Raymond. Raymond doesn't care because he is obsessed with following the rules. Later, Will and Sylvia start to argue that the time they are stealing is insignificant and that the government just raises the prices to get the stolen time back. They realize that the only way to make a real difference is to steal 1,000,000 years, so they kindly pay Philippe a visit. They try to open his vault and find out the code is Charles Darwin's birthday. Sylvia, for some reason, has his birthday memorized and opens the vault and steals his 1,000,000-year capsule. Philippe tells them that it will make no difference, which pisses Will off. Will tells Philippe that no one should be immortal if even one person has to die. The couple leaves and head to Dayton to distribute the time when Raymond starts to chase them. Raymond crashes into them, but Will manages to give a little girl the capsule. Will and Sylvia escape Raymond in the chaos, but Raymond just won't stop. Raymond catches up to them and reveals that he is originally from Dayton, just like Will. Will asks Raymond to give him some time or else he will clock out and not get a proper execution. Raymond was so obsessed with doing his job that he forgot to keep track of his own time and clocks out. Will and Sylvia are about to clock out as well unless they reach Raymond's car and get more time. Will get to the car and receives more time, but Sylvia is far behind. They run towards each other with seconds left when Sylvia falls into Will's arms. This time Will manage to get to his loved one in time and they smooch. The time Will stole manages to make a significant shift in the economy, and Will and Sylvia decide to spend the rest of their lives robbing banks. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you liked the video, please like and subscribe for more movie recaps. Watch out and take care.